Hello, all you crypto fans, and we got some good crypto news for you, or bad, whichever one. There is a very, very bullish crypto signal that many of you may not know about. It's not with charts or graphs or anything else, but it is one that follows the Bitcoin price almost exactly, and that is Google Trends Search. And we have some very, very bullish news from Google Trends Search. This actually does come from the UK, and the Google Trends Search from the UK has actually come up something like 800% in the last, couple of weeks. So it's definitely like huge because buy Bitcoin search queries on Google search 826% in the UK. That means more people are Googling how to buy Bitcoin. How does Bitcoin price go up? Well, people buy it. And why would they search buy Bitcoin in the UK? Well, because they want to buy Bitcoin, obviously. It's a very, very simple, logical concept. So according to research from cryptogambling.tv, the search term buy Bitcoin spiked a staggering 826% in the UK over the course of 7 days. Obviously, that has something to do with the Bitcoin pump. But I think that's not only in the UK, it probably is with the rest of the world as well. UK is just an exception. So the remarkable surge in buy Bitcoin searches in the UK from Cointelegraph, combined with the cryptocurrency's resurgence, underscores the growing interest and potential impact of a traditional financial institution's involvement in the world of digital assets. They're obviously talking about the ETF. People in the UK are excited about institutions coming in with the ETF. So obviously, this is a very, very bullish sign. And if you want to know why, if you look at the search trends just for Bitcoin, you can see where it lasted. So like the biggest spike here was 2017, and the next big spike here was 2021. This spike over here was 2013, but 2013 almost no one knew about Bitcoin. So you can see Google Trends basically follows the bull and bear markets near exactly. And right now you can see we're in the small part of an uptrend. We went from like 9 to 10. But if we actually just look at the last 5 years, you can see the uptrend a little bit more closely. Starting in the beginning of October when all this stuff started happening, we went from like 12 all the way up to 16. Now, we are still much, much lower than where we were basically last summer, and we are slowly edging up there. But remember, last summer, before Terra Luna, was when we were higher than 35K. So people are starting to get a little bit more excited about Bitcoin, at least in with respect to the summer. If we look at past 12 months, you can see the trend a little bit more closely. Now, it's not quite time to celebrate going from 36 to 57. I mean, we're still nowhere near when FTX fell apart. When big events happen, whether they're pumps or dumps, people tend to get interest. But this is obviously a bad event with FTX falling apart. And this is obviously a good event with Bitcoin pumping in the ETF. I think if we get an ETF actually approved, it will go way up. And I do think the price would actually go way up too. We got to watch the Google trend to see if it actually continues going up, because right now there's more and more people getting excited about what Bitcoin is doing. So there are macro trends like Google, Twitter that you need to follow. Google is probably one of the best to follow because it's easy to track via Google Trends, and it does match up with the pricing and the excitement pretty well. I mean, the FTX thing, obviously, when there's a big event and there's a big fallout, people want to read about it too. But when there's like positive movement and there's a surge in Google Trends, that does mean interest overall is going up for Bitcoin. So more interest overall going, it's going to get on mainstream media, and people are going to take notice of it. People are going to be more interested in investing in it. So obviously, it's a very, very good sign for Bitcoin. So that is one big bullish sign that I don't see a lot of people mention. They're always like, oh, Golden Cross, oh, RSI, and all this other stuff. But the Google Trends data is actually very, very critical, I think, to forecasting if you're actually interested in that. You see what's trending on Twitter, what's trending on social media, even Rumble or something like that, and what's trending on Google. And that's what's going to have people's interest. People need to be interested in this market in order for the market to go up. Otherwise, no one buys anything and the market stays stagnant. But with the rise in interest from the UK, and I think other regions as well, I do think people in the US are much, much more interested in, well, as the graph actually shows, we can really have a surge. I think the Bitcoin ETF would actually take us to, at least kind of like beginning of 2022 interest levels. when it was like maybe twice as high as right now. So that obviously means more views for me on this channel, but it also means a better price and more buyers for you in the Bitcoin market. So HTX's Justin Sun has claimed record profits. I don't really know if I believe Justin Sun, honestly, because there were rumors that HTX was completely insolvent and Justin Sun was in a big hole. And I don't really think he has to show any numbers, so he could just be claiming complete BS. We don't really know, and I'm almost thinking he is claiming complete BS. I don't really trust it, but here's what he says. So this is from Cointelegraph as well. The blockchain personality claims that his exchange recorded a profit of $98 million in Q3. That $98 million is still not enough to cover like a $2.4 billion hole, obviously, which he actually might be in. I would definitely be careful with Huobi. For me, I would not actually use Huobi. I just don't really trust this guy. So Chinese blockchain personality Justin Sun, who also serves as the de facto owner of crypto exchange HTX, formerly Huobi Global, claims that he posted a profit of $98 million in Q3 2023. Now, remember, the October excitement didn't really start until Q4. So he's saying that he posted that profit without the excitement, which I do think is kind of like sus, honestly. He said they generated a total of $202 million in revenues during the quarter, which was offset by $104 million in expenses. Now, the reason this might be true is because he's been firing Huobi's staff left and right, so he might have actually cut down on the staff costs. And that leads him to generate $98 million. So the entire third quarter was a severe quarter for the industry, mentioning that the U.S. Federal Reserve's high interest rates led to an industry-wide decline in revenues. Obviously, that's because people are buying bonds instead of crypto. But I do think fourth quarter would actually be even better. So maybe Huobi did actually get a small breather, but I would still view this with a bit of suspicion just because it is Justin Sun. And there was all that rumor of him being insolvent, of Huobi being insolvent, of him actually owing a lot of money because of this and because of that. There's just a lot of stuff going on that makes me really, really doubt that Justin Sun and Huobi are actually in the positive. They're not insolvent and it won't just completely fall apart sometime like a pile of garbage or like a stack of cards or something like that. House of cards, house of garbage, whatever you want to call it. So Justin Sun does actually say that they're actually in the profit right now. But the thing is, there's definitely a lot of news of him trying to liquidate other assets to pump up his Ethereum position, because his Ethereum liquidation point was supposed to be at 1,400. So he's out of the danger zone now. But I still really wouldn't trust Huobi Global right now, and I would use another exchange. But hey, if you want to use Huobi, that's your choice. So SBF just gets dumber every time I hear him. He actually thought that it was legal for him to basically steal customer money. Now, I can't really tell if he's lying or not, because this guy is like, as we've seen from the trial, he's actually pretty stupid, and he actually did seem like he was telling the truth in court, but this is SBF, and he could just be lying his ass off, because wouldn't it seem like common sense that you can't steal customers' money for your other business venture? Doesn't really make any sense. And plus, the FTX TOS specifically said he couldn't steal customers' money for his own purposes. So luckily for us, the law does not see ignorance as an excuse for your actions. So even if he didn't know that it was illegal, as long as he did some illegal act, he's definitely gullible. So the thing is, I don't really know if his defense is trying to plead insanity or something, or ignorance. Pleading ignorance isn't going to work because he's still going to jail. But they might be pleading insanity and that he didn't actually know, and that's why he's going on with it. Because every time he opens his mouth, he just makes himself sound dumber. So basically, from Cointelegraph again, former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried addressed a New York courtroom after an oath without the 12-member jury present. And of course, this kicked off his highly anticipated hearing, or his own testimony. And I think generally, putting the witness up like this for his own defense, sometimes I feel like this is kind of like desperation mode. And if I was SBF's legal team, I would actually be going into desperation mode after all the co-CEOs or co-founders basically testified against you. So basically, check this out. Bankman-Fried reportedly claimed that he acted in accordance with company policies on records, and none of the media set to auto-delete were channels for decisions. So the thing is, that is obviously false because his TOS said he couldn't actually mingle customer funds, which he did anyways. Why did you turn off auto-delete? Cohen asked Bankman-Fried, because I had heard from the regulators, he replied. So Cohen pressed the former FTX CEO on the reaction of North Dimension, an alleged shadowy entity used to launder customer funds from the crypto exchange through Alameda Research. And according to SBF, Chief Legal Regulatory Officer Dan Freeberg provided him with papers setting up the firm, which he signed without question. So once again, he is trying to shift blame onto someone else. But in this case, I highly doubt it's going to work. It all leads back to him because it eventually all leads back to the kingpin. But when he was asked if he thought this stuff was legal, he did actually say yes. He could just be lying his ass off, which is completely possible, or he could just really have not known. And when you're defending a defendant who's either lying or is completely ridiculous and stupid, you have a very, very hard job in front of you. So his lawyers are probably sweating bricks. I think they know more than him how screwed he actually is. I still don't think guys like SBF, who's never been held accountable for anything, really understand what the implications of this are. He might still think he has a way out of jail, but I think his lawyers don't really see much of a way, and he's too toxic for any politician to come in and save at this point. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.